Yo, what's up, guys? Mobile here from Top Trader South Africa. We've partnered up with Light Forex, a true ECN broker. So if you're looking to open an account with a trusted and regulated broker, please use the link in the description below. Yeah, so please enjoy this interview. Okay, welcome back to the Top Trader South Africa YouTube channel. My name is Mtimkulu, and this is All Things Forex. Today I am joined by Trevor Mtimkulu. Shout out for coming through.
Thank you for having me, my brother. Thank you.
Easy. Yeah, so obviously you're here. I've invited you here because you're a Forex trader.
Yeah.
Easy. So how did you get into Forex though?
My story of how I got into Forex is actually an interesting one. It was back in grade 9, grade 10. There's a friend of mine who was trading Bitcoin at that time.
Yeah.
Basically, like Bitcoin was the new thing. And then he was making it, he was buying everything. Everywhere we went, he was buying everything.
Yeah.
And you understand that we're 15, 16 years old.
Yeah.
And then at some point he was able to convince me, and he was like, yo, you should actually buy just one Bitcoin, you know. So I bought a Bitcoin. I think the price was around 3,000 rands.
Okay.
Like one Bitcoin was worth 3,000 rands. I bought it and then I forgot. A few months down the line, people are telling me now that one Bitcoin is worth $7,000. And I didn't even look back. I found my Bitcoin, I went through all of it, right? So now from there, the next question was to be, what am I to do with this money? Because I can't just blow the money, right? So my brother was at varsity at that time, and I was making some bad investments, you know. I found some investments online. I was putting money in everywhere, so I lost a lot of money that way. So my brother was at university at that time, and he was the one, you know, who was, you know, active in Forex. He was the one trading and everything. So he basically taught me how to trade, you know, because he was attending all these seminars, paying all these people, you know, to learn. So he started his own company as well, and then he's the one who basically introduced me to Forex and taught me a lot of strategies, of which I've tried to filter out. You know, my trading strategy now is just simple, of which we try to keep everything stupid and as simple as possible. But basically, that's how I got into Forex, man.
Okay, that's cool. So currently at the moment, you're a student.
Yeah.
Why the decision to not drop out actually? Because essentially you find that people get into Forex and it's just the theme is I need to drop out now, I need to leave school. The same for me.
My brother, I won't even lie to you. I think about dropping out every day. Man, to be honest with you, this Forex thing, we're making people's salaries in days, you know, people's monthly salaries in days. So, you know, having to juggle school and knowing that, okay, I'm at school, but the money I'm earning now, the money coming in now is way more than what I'll be making. You know, so it's a very difficult struggle, you know, it's a daily struggle every day, but you know, I'm able to juggle both of them, you know. I also have to make the parents proud, you know. You know, my mom, she's the only one who graduated. My brother, you know, after he started Forex and everything was going good, he bought a car, dropped out of school, you know. So I have to be the one, you know, still in school. And, you know, I can't complain because I'm also doing well at school. I'm a 2-times Golden Key member. I don't know if you know about Golden Key.
Okay, no, I don't.
Golden Key is basically the top 15% of a certain degree, you know. So if your marks are good and you're in the top 15%, so you know, so 2 years in a row, right?
That's lit. That's it's like a low-key flex right there.
You know, and also something that also helps me you know, stay in school is how humbling the experience is for me, you know. So for example, you will never see me on campus with my best outfits, you know. It's also nice living the student life, everything simple and everything, you know, knowing that, you know, besides this, you also have a lot going on, you know, so man, I'm able to juggle.
Nah, that's cool. I have to ask this question. Do you feel like you come from old money, or is the money that you're getting now just purely new money?
That question, man, I wouldn't say I come from old money. You know, both my parents are teachers. well, my dad doesn't work anymore, but my mom is a teacher, and I grew up with my mom. Right, so it's me and my brother. So she's had to support, me and my brother, and also other kids, because I come from, not even from the hood, my brother, but in my car, so. I don't come from old money. The money that we making now, the money that we getting now is basically us, trying to have our kids say they come from old money.
That's what's up.
My grandparents were also teachers, so basically I could say that I'm breaking a generational curse. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. So where do you come from exactly?
I come from a small town in Matatiele, but in Matatiele I come from a village called Mtimkulu.
Okay.
Right, but I come from a small town. I was raised by my mom in a township there. It's called Malut.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's where I come from.
Sure, okay. So like when you look back at your life right now to how life is now compared to where you come from, like what are you like most grateful for along the way?
I'm grateful for the freedom, man. I'm grateful for the freedom. Growing up, like sometimes you want toys, sometimes you want certain things, and you weren't able to get those things because, the financial freedom wasn't there.
Yeah.
But the most important thing that I can say I'm grateful for, man, is the freedom. Like walking into a shop, seeing something you like and being able to buy it on the spot, and also besides just buying everything, also the freedom to invest in things that you want, because I'm big on investment. My company is not Copymat Forex, but rather Copymat Investment Group.
Okay.
Because under the company as well, like there's a lot of things that we are doing, like where we're investing in certain things in certain industries as well, So I can say the most important thing, man, from where we come from to here now, is the freedom, man.
Yeah, that's what's
the freedom.
Yeah. So what has been your biggest accomplishment to date in Forex trading?
First of all, I'm turning 21 in September.
Dude.
Yeah, so I'm still 20 years old. Still young. But my biggest accomplishment, I could say, is what we did for my mom last year.
Okay.
So my mom has always wanted a Mercedes-Benz, right?
Yeah.
She's a lover of Mercedes, right? So, but she thought that you get your C180s or your basic, like your basic models, you get them at 100, 200,000 rands, 300,000 rands. So she went to a dealership in Margate last year.
Okay.
And then she was at this dealership, man, and she was so in love with all these cars.
Yeah.
She was in love with all these cars, but she saw the biggest shock of her life when she saw the prices of these cars. So she saw that these cars, the prices are around 400, 500,000 rands, like some are even 600,000 rands. So she kept on posting it on her status about, like talking about dreams, the importance of dreaming and everything. So obviously we've been saving up for a car ourselves. You can't be buying a car on this stuff.
Yeah.
So we've been saving up for a car like ourselves, like for the longest time. And then last year we decided, let's just do this for her. So me and my brother, we came in and we were able to chip in, a little bit, like just for our mom. So we bought that car for her, Mercedes C180.
Yeah.
It's the biggest thing ever. It's the biggest thing ever. Biggest thing.
Yeah, that's what's up. That's what's up. Big up to you and your brother.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so let's actually go back to trading now. So what preparation goes into planning to place a trade that you take? Because I heard earlier on that you try to keep it stupid simple, if that's what you say.
Yeah. My clients will tell you too, man. Like whenever we have lessons with clients, I always say one thing. Always try to keep it stupid simple. But what do I mean when I say stupid simple? Like a lot of people have indicators.
Yeah.
They have a lot of lines on the charts and everything, of which I feel like it overcomplicates the trading process, like the money-making process, right? So what we want to do is focus on the money-making part, and the money-making part is filtering out the noise. Man, when I learned how to trade Forex, I was bombarded with a lot of strategies, like a bit of this, a bit of that, and everything. So when I started my own company, along with my brother, Dumisani, Eldino, on Instagram. So I realized that, I want to filter out all this noise, So our strategy, we try to filter out all the noise and basically keep it stupid simple, right? So basically what we do is we start with your bigger time frames, of course, because your bigger time frames, they show you the bigger picture, right? So you don't want to be selling in an uptrend, and you don't want to be buying in a downtrend, right? When the market is going down,
that's true.
Right? So we start with your bigger time frames. I try to keep it at daily, and then I go into my 4 hours, and then my 1 hour for my entries, right? And then from there, I identify the trend, of course. Then from identifying the trend, that's when I try to find my points of confluence. My points of confluence basically will be now your support and resistance zones, right? Because you have to identify the range of which the market is moving within, right? So that's basically the process. And then from there, you look at your candlesticks, you look at your final details. But that's the most important thing that I prioritize, and I try as much as possible to keep it at not having too many lines, because too many lines will definitely confuse you.
That's true.
And then sorry to cut you short, but also a lot of people don't pay attention to the news side or the fundamental side. You can have your technical analysis on point to the T, but you also have to make sure that you know what's going to happen. If you're placing a trade on a USD pair and you're not aware that at 3:30 today there's news coming out on USD, and then you wonder why you keep on losing your trades, so you always have to back test and you always have to back check with what's happening in the market the moment that you place the trade.
But I've had fundamental traders, technical traders, people are simply technical traders be like, no, fundamental news, I don't care much for that. And then you get fundamental traders, obviously we just trade fundamentals, technicals, whatever. So what you're basically saying right now is that it's important as a technical trader to also be mindful.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's important to be mindful because, I love clean charts. I love my clean charts, and I just don't post because, man, I have to travel school. I have to, so I can't be taking screenshots and everything. But my charts are clean. I've even gotten to a point where I'm able to look at the market, don't draw anything, but I'm able to tell whether the market is going up or down. But if you're not mindful of what's happening in terms of fundamentals, you can end up over leveraging on your account, right? So you're taking too much risk on that account, and then so you're not allowing for too much downside, and that could take you out within minutes. I understand.
Okay, no. So I hear you speaking of bigger time frames. Is it making you? Are you a swing trader, day trader?
Before NASDAQ. Life before NASDAQ. So before NASDAQ, I was a swing trader. Day trader here and there. I prioritize targets. Right? But before NASDAQ, I was basically a swing trader. Analyze on Sunday, place your positions on Monday or Tuesday, depending on whether the market is moving fast or not on Monday. And then on Tuesday or Monday or Tuesday, you place your trades, and then you only take profits maybe at the end of the week or the following week. That's how I used to operate, right? Because you want time, or you want to be able to have some time, to do everything else that you're doing, during the day. If you're going on site, if I'm on site sometimes. So if I'm going on site, if I'm going on campus, I know I have my trades running, and I don't have any stress. So swing trading afforded me that freedom. But when NASDAQ came,
it changed everything.
It changed everything. So I'd say I'm a day trader now. Even when I'm trading pairs, big lot sizes, in and out.
Okay, so but you're a student now, so how has that affected from moving from being a swing trader to being a day trader as a student? Has that like interfered with the school life a bit, or?
I hope my mom doesn't see these questions. But man, hey, the way that it has affected me is I'm no more on campus as frequently as I used to be. Man, I was on campus every day. I was popular on campus. I was in student politics. I was the fundraising officer of a council there on campus. But since then, man, you know, like since NASDAQ and everything, I'm not on campus as I used to be. And, like things changed.
Okay.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, no, that's no problem. Okay, so what are some of the obstacles that you've had to overcome as a Forex trader? I'd like to think of things that are outside, the attention, girls, all those kind of things. But most of the obstacles, man, that I face, I would say they come from within. Being involved with my emotions. And I think a lot of traders also experience this, like for example, if you're holding trades, and let's say, for example, you're holding 3,000 rands profit, like floating profit. And then you're thinking, I need to buy a sofa, or I need to buy a fridge today, or I need to buy something else today. And then you end up closing those trades early. And then you realize, I'm not paying attention to the market now, but I'm just paying attention to my problems, So you realize that I closed this trade early, and then you try to enter another trade now, just to catch those few pips going up, and then that's when the market starts turning, because now your emotions are involved and you don't pay attention to everything that the market is trying to tell you. And you should always pay attention to what the market is always trying to tell you, And sometimes, for example, talking about emotional battles, I'll be holding 30,000 profit. My target, my strategy is simple. I find with 30,000 on Monday, at the end of the week, I want 30,000 in my account, profit, So for example, sometimes I would have reached my target on Tuesday or Wednesday, but because, I can make more. It's still early, and then you end up over trading, and then you end up back where you were, because you take too much risk, because your account has also grown. So you end up taking too much risk, and then it basically takes you to where you were before, which is counterproductive. So it's mostly emotional battles, man, battles from within, or obstacles from within. And how are you overcome? How did you overcome them, or are you overcoming them constantly?
Man, I think it's the people I keep around me. It's the people I keep around me. My brother Eld, he's very cautious on risk, and he always tell you, my man, you just made 15,000 rands. No one will give you 15,000 rands on a Tuesday or on a Wednesday, And also I think my relationship with my mom as well, being able to talk to my mom on certain days, it's humbling. And also this thing of being on campus as well. You get to interact with different people, get to see different people from different aspects of life, so it's something that, I'm able to see within myself that, I'm ungrateful sometimes, and also I always have to be grateful and humble. So that's basically how I overcome. It's basically my interactions with people. That's where the name Get Your Hero comes from. It's basically paving the way, setting the standards, and demonstrating possibilities. But Black Child, it's possible. My mom has set the standard, so I just want to take it to the next level. Does my vision end in 2020? Because there's too much money we're making on a daily basis. I'm not doing this for fame. With that same 8,000 rand, I took to about 36,000 rand. I can say my biggest loss was recent loss.